We just had a great 2024 as far as JRPGs go. With no signs of slowing down, let's talk about what 2025 has in store on the JRPG front. With games like Persona 3 Reload, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, 2024 may go down in history as one of the best years for JRPGs. 2025 has arrived, and with a new year means new JRPGs, and it's already off to an amazing start with games like Ys Memoir, The Oath and Felghana, and Tales of Grace's F Remastered. But that's only the beginning. Today, we're going to talk about 10 JRPGs set for release in 2025 that have me giddy with excitement and just all around hyped. Before we start though, I want to hear what JRPGs you're looking forward to this year. Let me know in the comments below, and let's jump into today's video and talk about 10 JRPGs set for 2025 that have me unreasonably hyped. First, we have Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero, the sequel to the 2004 strategy RPG Phantom Brave. NIS, or Nippon Ichi, has always been unique when it comes to strategy JRPGs. Games like La Pucelle Tactics, Disgaea, or Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. Each one of these does something entirely new, and Phantom Brave is no different. Of all the games in the world, the last game I thought would get a sequel is Phantom Brave. It didn't ever feel like a game that had much popularity going for it, but here we are, 21 years later, and finally we're getting a new entry in the franchise. I've played a little bit of the demo of The Lost Hero, and I've really enjoyed everything that I've played for it so far. I can't wait until The Lost Hero comes out at the end of January, though I'm gonna be in a little bit of a rush to finish the game because 2 weeks later, we have another release I'm excited for. Next, we have The Legend of Heroes: Trails Through Daybreak 2. I recently reviewed the first Trails Through Daybreak, and I absolutely adored the game, so naturally, I'm incredibly excited for the sequel. I'm ready to see more of Van, Agnes, Aaron, Fairy, and everyone else's story and how the plot progresses. Now, I've heard all sorts of things about this game, things like Daybreak 2 is a pointless game in the series, as it doesn't really progress the Calvard arc all that much, how it's skippable, and all other sorts of negativity. However, I'm not one to pay attention to others' opinions, and I prefer to form my own based on my gameplay experiences. Honestly, even if the story doesn't do much in the grand scheme of things, the overarching story isn't a top priority for me when it comes to the Trail series. Super weird, I know. Story is usually what people praise when it comes to the Trail series. Personally, for me, it's all about the characters, those character relationships, the fun gameplay, and most of all, the banger soundtrack. After finishing the first Daybreak, I've been listening to the soundtrack of the second game way more than I should, and it already has me super hyped. So yes, I'm excited for Trails Through Daybreak too, despite all of the negativity surrounding it. In March, we have Atelier Yumia, the newest release in the Atelier franchise. For the longest time, the Atelier series intimidated me. All those time restrictions and missable events, it really stressed me out. Every single action performed could screw you out of getting an ending or an event. Thankfully, with the more recent Atelier games, namely the Ryza trilogy, that time limit seems to have disappeared entirely, turning the games from stressful experiences to cozy, relaxing enjoyment. Atelier Yumia is the newest release in the franchise, and I have to say I'm looking forward to it. Every trailer, every piece of promotional art, and every bit of music just makes me more and more interested. The character designs are great, and the battle system looks fantastic. And those environments, I love them. The fact that I enjoy Atelier in itself is such a weird concept to me though. Normally, I'm against any item creation or crafting aspect in JRPGs because it makes loot way too plentiful and kind of kills the point of exploring. But somehow Atelier does crafting in such a way that it still promotes exploration and makes it feel relaxing and rewarding. I adore the Atelier Ryza trilogy, and since I had such a good time with those games, I can't wait for Atelier Yumia. While we're on the topic, what are your thoughts on crafting? Do you enjoy it, or do you think it needs to be eradicated from gaming? Let me know in the comments below, and with that being said, let's jump right into the next game for the list. Suikoden I II Remastered. I am probably pronouncing that terribly. But anyways, scheduled to be released on March 6, 2025. Okay, want to hear something traitorous? something criminal, something that could completely discredit me in the JRPG community. I have never played a Suikoden game before. This is a series that I haven't ever had the chance to dive into. I keep hearing the second game is one of the best JRPGs on the original PlayStation, so this has to be a crime, right? Anyways, when I heard that Suikoden 1 and 2 were getting a remaster, naturally, I was incredibly excited and couldn't wait for it. Sadly, this collection has been delayed several times. I was almost convinced that Konami was trying to sabotage the release of Eiyuden Chronicle and planned to release it like a week before it. With that being said, now that we finally have a release date, I can actually be excited. Honestly, I don't know much about these games, other than they have one of the most evil villains to ever grace gaming, a castle advancement system, and how you can recruit over 100 characters for that castle. That and what you do in the first game affects the second game in some way. I'm going to be happy to finally get to experience these games on modern hardware, and I'll finally get to talk about my experiences with them. Who knows, maybe playing these games will send me down a rabbit hole, and I'll end up playing through the whole series. Now, I wouldn't complain. All of these highly talked about games that I've played since starting my YouTube channel, some have become my favorites. I'm looking at you, Lufia, too. Speaking of which, I'm going to take this as a prime opportunity to say thank you to the community for leaving amazing JRPG suggestions down in the comments. Some games I haven't even heard of until you all mention them. And for that, I appreciate you and I want to say thanks as we move on to the next game on my list. I was so incredibly excited when they announced Lunar I and II Remastered during the PlayStation State of Play. There are very few JRPGs that I consider timeless and classics. Both Lunar 1 and 2 fall under that category. When I first saw the trailer for the Lunar remasters, I had all those memories just flood right back to me. The adventure, the music, the vocals, everything just came right back to me all at once. If you've played the PlayStation localizations of the Lunar games, do you remember that translation? I know a lot of people complain about them, but I feel like that's what made the game so nostalgic for me. The translations are utterly ridiculous and don't make sense at times, but the pop culture references remind me of the 90s, and I am all for that. Unfortunately, if Lunar Silver Star Story Touch is of any indication, the games seem to be retranslated, which is a shame, but I'd rather have a proper retranslation than no modern version of Lunar at all. If you're gonna pick one thing from today's list to pick up this year, make that one thing Lunar 1 and 2 Remastered. They are some beautiful games with beautiful moments, and to this very day, Wind's Nocturne still brings tears to my eyes. It's one of the most beautiful vocalized songs to ever grace a JRPG. I will also take this chance to say I have something incredibly fantastic planned around the Lunar series come April, so if you're interested in that, make sure to hit the channel with a follow. Seriously, I want to spill it, but it's gonna be great. I promise. I swear, this year is not all remakes and remasters. Yeah, they're plentiful, but there are some other games out this year that are original. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was shown last December at the Game Awards, and it seems incredibly cool and interesting. It looks like if you crossed a Western-style RPG art style with the gameplay and interaction elements of a JRPG. The very first thing that grabbed my eye is the art style and gameplay elements. The game looks absolutely gorgeous, and the battle system seems to use a Legend of Dragoon-style timing system. Not much has been shown for this game outside of the initial reveal trailer and a 6-minute gameplay trailer, but I'm excited regardless. From my understanding, this is the first game that Kepler Interactive has put out, and for a first game, it's oozing style. The UI is pure beauty, and the attention to detail is sublime. Seriously, the UI is competitive with things like Atlas with Metaphor and the Persona games. I hope we get to see more about this game because honestly, as far as original IPs go, this one has got my attention. It's also nice to see a JRPG that is rated M that isn't an anime art style. Now don't get me wrong, I don't mind anime art styles, but most of the M-rated JRPGs we get are Atlas with its trademark watercolor art style. Well, I guess the Like a Dragon series as well, since it's considered an RPG now. But a new look is always fun. You can guarantee that once Clair Obscur Expedition 33 comes out, I'll be putting out some sort of coverage for it, because I am beyond excited for it. Once a Falcom fan, always a Falcom fan, It's about time we got a remake of Trails in the Sky. For a series as prolific as Trails, or Kiseki as it's known in Japan, I am surprised it took this long for some sort of modern release on modern hardware for the first game in this extensive series. If you talk to any Trails fan and ask where to start the series, most of them will tell you that you have to start with the first Trails in the Sky game, very aggressively so in fact. But the problem is that the accessibility of the title has been a bit difficult. Unless you're a PC gamer or you still hold onto a PSP, you're out of luck. And even then, you have to be one of those gamers that can handle 2D sprites. And honestly, while I don't think graphics are that important when it comes to games, it just isn't everyone's cup of tea. Thankfully, Trails in the Sky First Chapter is getting a remake in 2025, and it seems to be taking after the Cold Steel series as far as gameplay and art style goes. Now, I didn't start with Trails in the Sky myself. I started when the first Trails of Cold Steel game came out, but I went back and I'm fully caught up on the series now. And honestly, the Sky arc is probably up there as my favorite arc in the entire Trails series. Estelle, or shall I call her Bestel, is the best main character that the series has to offer. And the Estelle-Joshua relationship is just super wholesome and warms my heart. At this time, Falcom is only committed to remaking the first Sky game, but I really hope they remake second chapter and third, especially third, because there's some scenes I would love to have reimagined in 3D, and this world just honestly needs more Kevin love. In November 2024, we received an HD 2D remake for Dragon Quest III. Square Enix has stated that we will receive an HD 2D remake of the first two Dragon Quest games. Dragon Quest has always been up there as my favorite series of all time and has a special place in my heart, so it should come as no surprise that I'm looking forward to replaying Dragon Quest 1 and 2 in an HD 2D style. I know Square Enix came out saying they don't want to do too many remakes in the HD 2D style at risk of oversaturation, but I still think that is the most ridiculous thing that they've said. The HD 2D remake style is one of the best things that has come out of Square Enix in the past 10 years. But anyways, enough of just the HD 2D style. I'm happy that we are getting two Dragon Quest games in one collection. However, even together, these games are relatively short. Part of me wonders if they're gonna do something to expand the length of the games, especially the first game, as that game can be finished within 10 hours if you know what you're doing. Even then, if they don't add anything to the games, I'm still picking up this collection because the original Dragon Quest was the first RPG I ever played, so it's chock full of nostalgia for me. The Dragon Lord is going down in all of his beautiful HD glory. While we talk about Dragon Quest, here's another question for you to ponder. What was your first JRPG, and did it kick off your love for the genre in question? Let me know in the comments below. Oh hey, a new game in 2025. Originality is the spice of life, isn't it? Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma is out in May. This is an interesting game because while I've always loved Rune Factory, I was kind of left disappointed with Rune Factory 5. From things like the performance on the Switch, to certain characters not being romanceable, to the areas feeling incredibly empty, it just wasn't what I was expecting from a Rune Factory game. However, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, seems to be a reimagining of the series and has all kinds of traversal options along with an enhanced combat system and a beautiful art style. Rune Factory is one of my favorite go-to cozy games, and I'm looking forward to having a new game to explore. Honestly, at this point, I haven't looked very much into the game outside the initial release trailer, but that's because whenever I see a Rune Factory game, I already know that it's a day one buy for me. I know a lot of people complain about the oversaturation of farming simulators since they're all over the place, and it's even a meme as far as Nintendo Directs go. But when I need to relax, it's my go-to genre. Even after I was let down by Rune Factory 5, I have faith that the newest Rune Factory game is gonna be a blast. Time to grab your hoe and start farming. And for the final game on today's list, I want to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X. So, me and the Xenoblade franchise have an interesting history. When the first game came out, initially, I absolutely despised it. I came off of recently playing Xenosaga Episode 3, which I loved, but Xenoblade Chronicles was not what I wanted. This isn't sci-fi. The quests are pointless. What is this MMO like auto-attacking combat system? I dropped it and didn't touch the series again until several years later when Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition came out on the Nintendo Switch. When that came out, I gave it a shot. I appreciate the streamlined quests and the touched up graphics. I sunk over 100 hours into it, and while it wasn't Xenosaga, I enjoyed it a bit more. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I haven't played since I got it on the Wii U way later than I should have, and I didn't get the opportunity to play through it. However, I am really interested in it because it seems to go back towards the sci-fi roots. So naturally, when I heard it was coming to Switch, I saw that as an opportunity to finally get the chance to play the game. Now, I don't know very much about this game, but I've heard a lot of negative things about it. Pretty much everything except for the music, which everyone praises. If you know anything about me by watching my channel, you know that I'll tolerate an awful anything as long as the music is good. I guess if anything, that's my toxic trait. Hopefully, the bad rap this game gets is undeserved, but I guess I'll find out when the game is released in March. I don't even know if this game is connected to the rest of the series of the canon though. I think it's a one-off, but if you know anything about it, be sure to let me know. So there you have it, 10 JRPGs coming out in 2025 that I have my eye on. Sure, this year is pretty full of remasters, but you know what? That's okay. I don't mind classics becoming accessible, and besides, there are quite a few new games as well. Did I miss any JRPGs coming in 2025 that you're looking forward to? If so, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. And since you're still here, and clearly want more of me, be sure to click this video and tell me what you think about it. This has been Shinky, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have a wonderful day.